I just came to talk to you about the City of Boulder's local insights for the month of February. And we're going to take a look at the detached units here in Boulder right now. And the biggest shocker here is that inventory is still falling, right? We are getting so low in our inventory. Now we're sitting there right around 87 homes, right under the 100 mark, which I don't know if I've ever seen that happen here in the City of Boulder. And one of the key takeaways from what's happening is even though inventory is still continuing to fall, we are approaching that spring market in February being winter still. This is where we really start to see things rise. So under contracts right now are 10% over where they were a year ago from February to February. And the average solds are at 1.325 million. So an expensive city to live in, but it is showing you just even though with low inventory, that people are high demand for living in Boulder. So with that high demand comes a lot of changes. And just look at that extreme shift in the under contracts. We're up 36% from January to February, which is a good sign that the market's off to a good start. The biggest concern here is that with half of the inventory we had a year ago, what is going to happen in the future? So let's talk a little bit about that. This average sales price slide that we look at, it talks a little bit about kind of what to expect for the year. If you look at it kind of at a bigger picture image, it bounces all over the place based off of the number of sales and what luxury is doing for the month. But you can see the general trend is up, up, up in Boulder. So at 1.33 million, we're about $80,000 over where we were a year ago for a home at that average price. And that would make sense, right? We've had this incredible appreciation level. If we look year over year, it's only 6.4%, but it has to be somewhere a little bit higher than that because like you can see here, the previous month in January, it was 1.57 million because there's a few luxury sales, but we're bouncing that average around quite a bit. We could take a look more at it, but we're going to move on here to look at something a little more important. In the city of Boulder, what we really want to focus on, what we really like to look on at the real estate market as a whole is just kind of how are we comparing to last year and what should we come to expect going forward. So as you can see in real estate, it's really seasonal. Usually the peak of our market is March, April, May, maybe into June sometimes. And that would be where we see the most sales. And last year when COVID happened and we shut down the economy and we shut down the real estate world quite a bit, we didn't allow showings or any of that stuff. This stuff didn't take place. So we had a bunch of pent up demand for the last portion of the year. And we're really still feeling that. So you can see that because we're on par with where we were last year, we're almost dead even right now, that you're going to continue to see March, April, May, June just have an incredible number of sales. You're going to see, that active inventory level rise a little bit, but as it does, buyer demand is still going to be there. So I would expect us to see an outperformance of last year just because of that dip and because interest rates are so low, it's creating just a lot of demand from buyers. The other thing I did want to point out and talk about was just the month supply of inventory. So month supply of inventory around the county is a little bit lower than in the city of Boulder, and it's definitely due to that price point, but we're still 1 month of inventory. And when a balanced market is at that 4 to 6 months of inventory, we haven't seen that level of inventory since the end of 2019. So we're not really going to be experiencing anywhere near that kind of inventory levels coming on the market in Boulder, anywhere really in the county. City of Boulder should have the highest inventory for the whole county. And so what's going to happen here is we're just going to have an ultra competitive sellers market this year. Get ready for those bidding wars. Get ready for high levels of appreciation in the city of Boulder, especially in the detached home market. The other thing that is a really important part of the conversation would be days on market. And this days on market is a measure of the buyer demand. So as you can see, post shutdown, really starting with about April or May, those days on market have gotten really, really small, right? We normally saw them kind of climbing up there around 80 days on market. It's kind of a horseshoe. So January being the highest days on market for the year, which is very possible for this year at 71 days being the highest we'll see for the entire year for the city of Boulder. But what this really measures is just buyer side demand. And it's really showing you here that there is just a lot of demand. It's not going anywhere. It's been very strong post COVID and during the shutdown. So even though we're starting to see this kind of drag down, 31% below where we were a year ago, which means we have 30% more active buyers in the marketplace. Well, not quite one-to-one correlation, but that's basically the premise is that you have a lot more buyer demand. You have a lot more shift into people wanting to live in the city of Boulder that we haven't seen in the past. 61 days for a town with 1.3 million as the average sales price is really pretty impressive, right? It can definitely get a lot lower than that, which you'll see in some of the outerline counties. I'm Anthony with Land Title. Just wanted to bring you an update on the city of Boulder, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.